Hello, my friends, and welcome. It is lovely to have you back to visit me, brothers and sisters. And you're always very welcome here, as you know. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Paul. This is your verse visit. You're very welcome here, as welcome as anybody else. Come in and join the gang. I'd like to talk about Jesus. I'd like to talk about Jesus, the man before Christianity, I believe, changed his teachings. And I like to unpick what Jesus taught us, because I believe that Jesus of true teaching was to show us a way to connect with our soul, through love, through empathy, through caring. And if you look at Jesus' basic teachings, that's exactly what they teach. Now, Jesus was called rabbi and teacher, as you'll see in the scriptures when the New Testament, you read it. And by that, we assume that he was talking about the Jewish religion, which of course he was. What he was saying was that there's nothing wrong with the basic religion. He couldn't say there was anything wrong with the basic religion. I was been stoned to death before his ministry had even begun. No, what he was saying was there was nothing wrong with the basic religion, the Jewish religion. What he was saying was that man has got hold and changed all the rules and regulations and made it really complicated, so ordinary people had to do so much and carry a lot of weight just so that they could live their religion. I mean, I gave examples in my very first video. Jesus before Christianity, was Jesus a Christian? One of the two quick examples was you have to sacrifice a lamb for Passover, which every family had to do. But you weren't allowed to have any old lamb. You had to buy a special lamb from some mate of a Pharisee. The Pharisee got a backhander when you had to buy this very expensive lamb, which, the families who were poor, it was a big commitment for the year. And it could be the difference between being hungry and starving. Then there was also, as we know, the money changes in the church. So you had to give money when you went to the temple, but you couldn't use your money. Oh no, you had to buy their money. They were called money changers because their money was pure and you could use that in the temple. However, they could charge you what they liked to buy this money from them, which of course, the backhander went to the Pharisees and the lawmakers who made all these laws and regulations and made it very complicated. That's when Jesus, if you remember, finally lost his rag and threw tables and chairs and moneylenders all over the temple. What I want to talk about today, let's be honest, I'm going to say this to you now, right at the beginning of this video. If you're a strong Christian and you have strong Christian beliefs, then this next 25 minutes or so probably isn't for you. So you might as well say goodbye and move on to watch something else. If you are interested in how I believe that Jesus' teachings of how you can connect with your soul have been corrupted by the church, then you should stay along and listen. Because one of the things that keeps coming out in comments that I'm seeing from people, and people actually talking to me now that I've made myself out here, is that their religious beliefs, their beliefs in Christianity, is stopping them being able to move on and connect with their soul, because they're filled with the guilt that the religion has put on them. They're filled with the fear of, could it be the devil? They're full of fear of, they want to go to heaven, this heaven that we now know doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. So what I want to do today is I'm going to do something that Jesus did way back then. And what happened was, this is completely, do you remember I told you I have downloads? If you read A Man Who Talks to His Soul, you'll see I have downloads. And one of the downloads was, go and have a look at Matthew 23, which I did, which is in the New Testament, Gospel of Matthew. And in that, it's about Jesus' woes. Jesus is basically criticizing the Jewish faith. He's saying, you do this, you tell them to do that, and you do this, you tell them to do that, and you do this. So he's not actually criticizing the religion itself. He's actually criticizing the church around the religion, which is where I'm coming from. I'm not criticizing Christianity in itself. What I'm doing is I'm criticizing what the church has done to Christianity, probably from the 2nd or 3rd century. Like it's 2,000 years that it's been corrupted. And it's just got worse and worse and worse as time's gone on. And it's becoming even worse now. So if you're interested in how I can help you release yourself from the ties that you found yourself unable to move forward with your soul search, I can help you release that. But listen to what I've got to say to you. And I'm hoping, I'm not going to teach you, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a preacher, I'm just showing you things that I believe. And if you agree with me, then that will give you a chance to break free. If you think I'm talking a load of old tosh, then that's fine too. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to show you a way, and it's entirely up to you how you take that way. So let me begin with the woes. I'm not going to read what Jesus said. And let's understand this straight away. I am not Jesus. I don't claim to be Jesus. I don't claim to be a Messiah. I don't claim to be a teacher or a preacher. I'm just going to say to you that I'm going to take what Jesus said to the Pharisees and the legal guys and the rabbis and what he said to them, and I'm going to turn that round and I'm going to say what I believe Jesus might say if he was here in the 21st century. But that's just my opinion, please. It's just what I think he would say to the Christian church as it is today. And whether you agree with me or not, let's see. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to use an actor to speak Jesus' words, and I'll be speaking my words over the top. So, here we go.
The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them.
So here's my modern interpretation of that passage.
The megachurch pastors and the televangelistic preachers sit in their glittering pulpits. They tell you to follow their every word as if they come straight from God himself. But watch what they do, not just what they say. They're quick to demand strict moral codes and hefty donations from their flock, burdening them with rules about how to dress, who to love, and even how to vote. Meanwhile, these same leaders live in mansions, fly in private jets, and somehow find loopholes in the very morality they preach. They'll gladly take your last dollar from you for their building fund, but don't expect them to sacrifice their comfort for your needs. The cardinals and the patriarchs sit in their ornate cathedrals, draped in gold and silk. They claim to speak with divine authority, insisting you follow their every decree as if it came from God himself, but look closely at their actions, not just their words. They burden their flock with centuries of rigid traditions, complex rituals, and strict hierarchies, insisting these are the only paths to salvation. Yet these same leaders often shield themselves from accountability, hiding behind bureaucracy when scandals emerge. They demand celibacy from their priests while covering up terrible abuse. They preach humility while amassing vast wealth in the Vatican vaults and Orthodox monasteries. They call for charity yet spend millions on elaborate ceremonies and buildings while many of their followers struggle to make ends meet. These leaders are quick to excommunicate those who question their dogma, but slow to expel those who've hurt the vulnerable in their care. They claim to be Christ's representative, but how often do you see them washing the feet of the poor, or welcoming outcasts, or forgiving?
How do you think about that? I'm going to rewind and do that again if you like. That's my interpretation for the 21st century. I think it's pretty good. I think if you listen to the words, you'll get a taste of what what I think Jesus might have said if he was here now, the Christian church. Let's go on a little bit further.
Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others.
Today's Christian leaders are masters of the spotlight, always chasing the next photo opportunity or viral moment. Evangelical pastors craft their image with designer suits and perfect hair. Their megachurch stages more suited to rock concerts than to worship. They crave verified checkmarks on social media as desperately as they crave amens from their congregation. Catholic bishops and cardinals parade in elaborate robes and towering mitres. Competing for who can look the most regal, they jostle for positions closest to the Pope, treating the Vatican like a spiritual Hollywood. Orthodox patriarchs, not to be outdone, wrap themselves in layers of ancient symbolism, their beards as long as their list of titles. They stand on ornate rugs, ensuring they are always a step above their flock. All of them, evangelical, Catholic, Orthodox, they love their fancy titles. Pastor, Father, Your Eminence, Your Holiness, as if the extra syllables bring them closer to God. They preen at charity galas, positioned strategically for the cameras. They demand VIP treatment wherever they go, from airports to restaurants, as if their collar or robe is a badge that says, I'm more important than you. They're quick to speak on TV about morality, but slow to visit the sick without a camera crew. They'll gladly bless your business for a photo op, but where are they when the homeless need shelter? They've twisted Jesus' command to be fisher of men into influencers of men, more concerned with followers than with their faith. How do you feel about that one? Are you thinking now? Are you thinking, maybe this Christianity is maybe a bit of a shadow of what it could have been. We follow Jesus' teachings. Okay, we'll do one more. Just try and convince you.
Woe to you, blind guides! You say, if anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing. But anyone who swears by the gold of the temple is bound by that oath. You blind fools! Which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing. But anyone who swears by the gift on the altar is bound by that oath. You blind men! Which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore anyone who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And anyone who swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it. And anyone who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it.
Shame on you, you spiritual snake oil salesman. You've turned faith into a twisted game of loopholes and legalism. You tell people, oh, you're tied to the general fund? That's nice, but not binding. But if you pledge to our building campaign or our pastor's anniversary fund, now that would be a sacred vow. You blind money chasers, what's more important, the dollar amount or the heart that gives in faith? You say, a promise to volunteer, that's flexible, but if you sign up for our high-profile charity gala for just a few dollars, that's an unbreakable commitment. You nearsighted narcissist, what matters more, the glamour of the event or the genuine desire to serve? In your fancy Catholic cathedrals, you insist a prayer by the pews is casual, but one by the golden tabernacle, that's a serious business. And in your Orthodox churches, you claim lighting a candle is nice, but kissing the bejeweled icon, now that's real devotion. All at a little cost, of course. You've got it all backwards. It's not about where you pray, what you touch, or how much you give. It's about the spirit within who hears every whisper, sees every heart, and values every sincere act of faith. You've turned spirituality into a bizarre board game where landing on the right spaces matters more than how you play. But here's the truth. Here is the truth. Every promise made to faith is sacred. Every act of worship, grand or small, reaches the divine. And every moment lived in love fulfills the law more than your entire rule book of religious fine print. What do you think, guys and girls? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I've just poked holes? I mean, let's be honest. As far as I'm concerned, the Christian church has had, running out of tires forever. The actual puncher itself was maybe 2,000 years ago. 1st century, 3rd century, somewhere around there. And it's all been going downhill since then. Jesus taught love, compassion, empathy. Jesus said to us that God's inside. We've got to look inside to find him. So you cannot complete your soul journey if you're tied down by the dogmas of religion. You cannot find your soul if you're worrying about entertaining the devil. It's a construct. It's a construct to keep you in fear. It's a construct to keep you in guilt. It's a construct to make sure that you do as you're told. The promise of everlasting life let's be honest. The one that really annoys me is purgatory. Where did purgatory come from? So before you go to heaven, you're going to spend 3,000 years in purgatory because you weren't 100% good. You're not bad enough to go to hell, but you're not good enough to go to heaven. So you're going to go to purgatory. Really? Oh, don't forget, if you pay for a mass for the person that's just died, they'll get 100 years off their purgatory. Or pay for 3 masses and they get 300 years off their purgatory. Pay a few £1,000 and probably they can get into heaven within a week or so. But seriously, really seriously, one of the things going right back to my soul journey, don't forget to watch the video if you haven't seen it already, The Man Who Talks to His Soul. One of the things I forgot to mention in there was many years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Jerusalem. And I wasn't feeling particularly religious, but it's somewhere you ought to visit if you have the opportunity. I was on my own, and we did all the usual things. But then we got to the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus is supposed to have been buried in his tomb. And I was looking at it, and I thought to myself, the gold, the encrusted ornaments, the diamonds, the rich jewels. Surely this isn't Jesus we know. Surely this isn't Jesus we know. And the guide I was with, she said to me,
when I mentioned this to her, she said to me, "Oh, you ought to go around to the other side of the sepulchre, where there's a Gnostic room where you can go in. But the queues to go into the Holy Sepulchre are like 9 miles long, mainly Japanese and American and Chinese tourists. So I went round to the other end, and sure enough, there was 3 people in the queue, and I went into this little doorway when it was my turn, and there was a little tiny window. And I knelt down, and there was a Gnostic priest, I assume, was sitting inside that window. It was very plain, it was very ordinary, and behind him was the stone slab where Jesus was supposed to have been laid. And I did feel something. I don't know, I can't explain what exactly, but I did feel something. And the Gnostic priest blessed me. And that was that. I didn't think anything more about it. Because now I look back on from this point of view, that was the whole point. I've understood suddenly that the Gnostic Gospels tell me so much more than the canon Gospels that Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. But there you are. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please, 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 like, subscribe, comment. Let me know where your journey is. Let me know what you think about what I've said today. Because it's pretty extraordinary what I've just said. I've just condemned the Christian church. No, I haven't condemned it. Yes, I've said that it's on the wrong path, haven't I? Is it what Jesus said about the Jewish church? If Jesus can say that about the Jewish church, freedom of speech and all that, I can say it about the Christian church. And I think I might. I don't think anybody can argue with anything I've said here. I think I've got it right. However, it's not what I think, it's what you think. Do you think I've got it right? Do you think that you can now break the chains that bind you to Christianity? Do you think you can say to yourself, there is no heaven, not in heaven, up there? Because the birds would have got there first, remember what Jesus said? You know, it's in the sky and the birds are before you. So what do you think? Anyway, what's important for me is that I get to more and more people. So please, 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 like, comment, really important if you can, share it on your social media. Let other people come and see us. Let other people see what I'm saying. I really, really do need now to start making this bigger. I can feel that we're building something. You know, if you've been here before, probably here again. I hope you agree what I say. I'm ready to argue with anybody. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not going out there and okay, that's something else. One of the other woes that Jesus said, that you take your faith to other places, and then when you force them to join your faith, I'm thinking Christianity here, when, you know, everybody's going out all over the world forcing people to become Christians, but Jesus says, you know, you're going out there, you're forcing people into your religion, and then you're weighing them down with all the weight of that religion. You know, I have to go through all this, which is true, absolutely true. So, like, subscribe, share, comment. It's been wonderful to have you here with me. We've got to the end. You're on your soul journey. We're all on our soul journeys together, don't forget. I'm really looking forward to doing another video, but I think this one was the important one. This was the one I really, really, really wanted to do. What does Jesus think of Christianity? Anyway, thank you.